Hi, I'm Dick.
And I'm Eric, and we're the Annuity guys.
Eric, there's a weird dichotomy out there of people either tend to hate annuities or love annuities,
Well,
and advisors, advisors push this. So
Well, it depends on the type of advisor. Is kind of really the first foray is to say,
Yes.
which, if you're out there searching the internet looking for answers about annuities, well, then you automatically get this kind of big
proliferation.
Thank you.
Big word.
Of people that are out there that say, "Oh, I hate annuities." Well,
Right.
Well, I always say you have to look a little bit at kind of the perspective of the person who says love or hate.
Exactly. What's their motive?
Yeah, what's their
behind
what's
this?
their persuasion?
Right.
And
And there's so many factors, that go into this, and you don't realize how much of this there is until you start, going with Google and checking this out, and any of the search engines out there, and you see that people really line up on one side or the other, and it's not just advisors, it's the firms,
Right.
it's publications, and when you look a little deeper into this, usually there's a marketing motive.
marketing and money. Let's
Yes.
show me the money, and
Right.
that's literally what everybody's asking. They're saying, "Hey, you know what? I'd really like to have your dollars." Yeah. And depending on if you're the insurance
Yeah,
side,
yeah.
the security side,
Right.
mutual funds, banks, they're all after the almighty
There's an
dollar.
absolute war out there for the client's assets.
So when someone's looking to love annuities, a lot
That
of
might be
times-
us, Eric.
Yeah, we are the annuity guys after all. So if you're really after the love side of the annuity,
Yes,
it's usually because of some of the contractual guarantees.
correct.
Correct. And let's just be honest.
Exactly.
You shouldn't buy an annuity for what it's not.
Right.
You should buy an annuity for what it is.
And we talk a lot, Eric, about outcome-based planning. And when we talk about that, what we really want to emphasize is, look at all of these different ways that you could position your money to be successful. But when you look at annuities, look at the contractual guarantees.
Right.
And if you can be satisfied with the contractual guarantees, then all the other things that annuities can do are icing on the cake.
Right. So if you decide an annuity, well, first of all, you have to decide, is an annuity right for you? And if
Right.
that's the case,
Exactly.
let's make the decision for what portion of your portfolio. It's often not the right answer for everything you have.
Yes.
And that's the thing. We're not saying an annuity is an if this or
Right,
that. We're
right.
saying sometimes the answer is both, all the above, and mixing in the
And
allocations.
Eric, it is all based on the individual's unique situation. Everybody's different, and that's not cliche.
No.
It really is. We see this over and over again. What's right for one person is entirely wrong for another.
Right.
And this is where securities, they also have, their good points and their upside. Folks need securities a lot of times in their portfolio for that potential, that growth potential, that inflation hedging, that additional layer of hedging.
Right, it's the risk-reward aspect.
Exactly.
There's a portion of the portfolio that should be safe, and then there's a portion of the portfolio that you're going to take a little bit more risk with in order to get a little bit more reward. Now, you don't want to ever risk something you can't lose. Very simply said.
True.
So, why risk everything? And we're not even saying you have to do it with annuities.
Right.
Sometimes it's
Right.
with proper portfolio design.
Exactly. So, Eric, I think one thing that we could say that's really clearly true, this is not an either-or situation.
No, not at all. Not at all. Both is an option, or
Right.
multiple options.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
So, Dick, obviously, when you look at the building you're sitting in, that's going to be kind of an indicator of what type of
yes.
products and service you're going to see typically offered to you.
Exactly, because this varies from, your local brokerage firm
Yeah.
to your local bank. And that's where a lot of people go. They may also nowadays go on the internet,
Yeah.
to work with someone. But boy, there's a big difference between where, who you're talking to.
Right. So if you're sitting in your local bank, you're often going to see the banking products presented to you
Right.
as options, and then you're going to see, well, and especially if you've run into the investment division here all of a
Yes,
sudden.
most banks have them.
So you're going to see, well, there's this annuity all of a sudden pops up in the
Right.
and there's these financial, mutual fund offerings, and
Right.
you're going to have all of a sudden somebody talk to you about these different products maybe, and it might be the first time you're getting introduced to them, and the question you always have in the back of your head is, well, is this the best one for me?
Right.
So my advice for most people would be, well, what was second best? If they're only showing you one, is
Right.
there a reason they're only showing you one?
Right. Well, and Eric, this is, back to our outcome-based planning. We like to look at multiple successful scenarios. Right. And that's the one thing that we frequently see and you frequently see. When you get somebody who's worked with the bank, they don't have multiple. They have this one or
yeah.
two, supposedly best annuities, and you come down to, well, what did that bank have to select from?
Right, and that's part of what you want
Yeah,
to know.
yeah.
And so if you take in the natural bias from the building you're sitting in or the person you're talking to,
Right.
If you're talking to somebody at a custodian, one of the big guys,
Yeah.
Fidelity, Vanguard,
Yeah, or Edward Jones, or
their mutual fund kind of specializes
Yes.
in mutual funds and securities.
And they have very limited annuities, and especially when we get into the more specific fixed indexed annuities, they've either got a persuasion for or against, but also not a lot of access to a lot of different annuities as a rule.
They're making their money on the security side.
On the security side,
Now,
right.
if you're sitting in an investment, or I should say an insurance building,
Yes, you're going to hear the other.
you're going to hear the other
Exactly.
side. Hey, you know what? These annuities are
Right.
They can solve all your problems.
Forget about securities.
Now, the question always becomes with the guy that you're sitting. Can he even talk to you about securities?
True.
Is that in the way? And
Right.
that's one of the questions you have to ask.
Exactly.
Can you even think about this side of the ballpark?
Yeah.
Because if they're saying all your money should
Yes.
be here, well, it may be because that's the only option he or she has.
Right. So, Eric, if we get into fixed annuities, and because they're a unique product, and they've become so popular with retirees, in recent years. So let's just talk more specifically about what it is about fixed indexed annuities in general that are good, that would be spoken highly of for those that love annuities, and that, why they are so popular. And then kind of switch gears and talk about the negative side, the haters, what they don't like about them, or supposedly don't like.
And I think for most people going into retirement, the safety aspect is what jumps out at them. The
Yes,
opportunity to
very
have
much so.
something that's not going to have any kind of investment risk.
Right.
So you're taking off the loss due to investment risk
Right.
off the table.
Exactly.
Now, you may have some riders or the additional other pieces that you choose to add that may have a fee associated with it. So I always want to be careful to say,
Right.
there could be things
Some fee that could be
pulls down your
associated,
portfolio.
yes,
But
yes.
that you're not going to have that big drop because the S&P 500
Right.
lost big money. Your
Right.
portfolio is
Right.
not going to take, or your annuity, I should say,
Yes,
is not
exactly.
going to have that same drop. Now,
Right.
the other aspect is the income guarantees. Obviously
Yes.
the ability to add some sort of lifetime income guarantee associated with the annuity is very popular.
Right.
Because people, and I hate to say it in today's world, we don't have the pensions we used to have.
Yes.
So many of these people that have been 401k savers are now kind of on their own to create their own personal pension style type income. It's not a true
exactly.
pension,
Right.
but it's an annuity that can give you lifetime income.
And in the past, they've had to rely on immediate annuities as a whole. And with an immediate annuity, you've basically given all of your savings, away to an insurance company. And this gives folks, the fixed index annuity gives them the ability to keep some control over their account value.
That keeps the control, and there's still an opportunity to get some growth. And everybody likes the idea that
Right.
you've got some control of the remaining principal left there.
Right.
It's still going to get some growth over
Yeah.
over the next few years.
You've got the income guarantees.
If it does run out
Right.
of money, you're still going to get paid.
Exactly.
Those are the pieces for retirees, especially,
Yeah.
that make them feel very comfortable about these kind of fixed index products.
Right. I'd just like to add the aspect with the fixed indexed annuity, the just predictable future income, so that you can know where you're going to be at a certain time when you retire. You're not just relying on potential.
Right.
And that's where those contractual guarantees come into play.
Right.
And I think, Eric, now if we kind of switch gears here a little bit and just talk about the negatives of what people are going to say against fixed indexed annuities, because everything isn't perfect in that world.
It's not. Oh my gosh. And I think the biggest things here are limited growth.
Yes.
So your upside,
Yes.
so you're not going to have the same uncapped potential you're going to have from the equity side of
Right.
the market.
Exactly.
You've got surrenders.
Yes,
Especially
surrender
early
costs,
on,
that's
so
right.
it's limited
Yeah.
liquidity.
Yeah.
You're not going to get the full access in the early years.
Yes.
So during that first surrender schedule period,
Right.
you're going to have limited liquidity.
Yes.
So I mean,
Yes.
there's many kind of pieces on that side.
Yeah. Well, there's a degree of complexity to fixed indexed annuities. And I mean, you could argue on the security side, there's a complexity when you look at a prospectus, to ETFs or mutual funds or whatever you're looking at. But I do have to say that it's not your plain vanilla immediate annuity. It does a lot more things for your future retirement, and there's a lot of contractual guarantees as well as contractual limitations to it.
And I think
Yeah.
a lot of the problem that we have with the annuities is, I like to say, the selling of the sizzle part.
Yes. Overselling.
Overselling.
Yes.
You've got some of these guarantees that are basically out there towards the guaranteed lifetime income pieces on these annuities that are stated as, 8, 9, 10%
Right.
guarantees. And the perception is those are guarantees in growth. And unfortunately, that gets confusing, and that complexity
Sure,
aspect comes
sure.
in. And so they're buying from a sizzle perspective, not really understanding how it's
True.
going to be impacted into their actual annuity that they own.
Yes. Another thing, Eric, that folks are getting used to now, a lot of folks are really do-it-yourselfers.
Yeah.
They like to go out and, they can have their online brokerage accounts and they can make their own decisions. And with annuities, it's not so much that way.
Right, yeah. For $4.95, you cannot buy an annuity online today. Unfortunately, that's the case.
Yes.
You're going to end up working with somebody that's got an insurance agent's license.
Exactly, an insurance license. And so you can either work with more of a true financial planner, or you can work with an annuity insurance salesperson, and it comes down to what are you more comfortable with, and what are you trying to accomplish. Another thing that folks really get a lot of, and that's what kind of led us into this love-hate relationship, and that is all of the bad publicity and bias out there against annuities, which is not always fair.
Right. And I'll use the best example I can think of right now, is that if you go out there not online, but even on watching commercials, you'll see, hey, we want to buy your annuity. Well,
Yes.
why would people want to sell their annuity if it's so good? Well, think about it. Also think about the other twist. Why would somebody want to buy your annuity if they're so bad?
Exactly, exactly.
But there's people making a fortune out there off of trying to basically demonize one segment of the
Right,
industry
right.
without saying why you would want to make a transition to something else.
Right. We've all heard, the I hate annuities,
I would never sell you an annuity. I'll go to double toothpicks before I would sell you one.
Exactly. And so, there's just this place in the middle. And I think the key to it, folks, is just good, solid planning and, putting your unique needs out there first.
That's right.